heat is a major determinant of your life expectancy and your mortality. If you are operating in conditions of high heat, your body deteriorates faster than if you are in milder temperatures. So access to air conditioning actually is very well correlated to your lifespan and the quality of that life, in fact. As the planet warms and has been warming, air conditioning is actually the fastest growing use of electricity in buildings in the United States and across the world. So we are expecting a 5 times increase in electricity consumption just on air conditioning from now to 2050. And, just to give you the magnitude of what that means, is the same as the entire electricity consumption of India and China combined. The worst part of that is that it is concentrated in urban areas. So that electricity consumption occurs during the summer, so it's super constrained seasonally, during the hottest portions of the day, so it's constrained on an hourly basis, and is constrained geographically to our urban centers. We're going to have to create an infrastructure that hopefully is renewable or sustainable, that powers this highly peaky, highly concentrated electricity load. And the question becomes, are we actually able to do that? So renewable energy is, wind and solar, and so that has a variability of production associated with the weather and the sun coming out at the beginning of the day and then settling towards the end of the day. But air conditioning actually has the characteristic of operating mostly on the post-solar peak production. So air conditioning loads tend to really start coming into the early to late afternoon when solar power tends to start waning. And so air conditioning is not just a very large load. Actually, it's worse. It's occurring at the wrong time.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I can think about it here in the summer in Seattle at my house. It's usually hot, the hottest at probably 3 to 4 to 5, right around there.
Exactly.
Right. And that's just, one other thing.
That's also when the humidity of the day starts coming in. So you not only is it the temperatures are increasing, but you yourself feel hot because of the humidity effects associated with it.
The other thing you said, which is really interesting about the globe, is half of the world, so half the population of the planet, lives within latitude 20 to 40. So it's like, here's the equator, it's like here, right? And actually, I think the majority of the world lives in the northern hemisphere, but this is right where the equator is, right? So, what's going to be interesting, back kind of the macro view of this heating that's going to occur is, you've got a lot of people that are living there and they're going to be affected the most. Like I live in Seattle. We've had a great summer. Yeah. I think it's rained once in 2 months. So I've been watering my yard a lot, trying to keep things alive. So we don't mind that because we get a lot of colder temperatures. But I think it'll be uninhabitable for a lot of these populations that are living near the equator over time.
Absolutely. Already, people don't know this, but heat is, of all the weather or climate effects, the one that kills the most people today. Like this is not, and it's not just like, globally in the United States. Mm-hmm. So heat kills more than cold right now. The populations that are most affected right now are, young children who don't have the capacity to deal with it, and so we have a pretty large mortality on that end during those heat wave events, but also older people. But as the temperature starts to rise, we're seeing a democratization, I would say, of that, of that death toll. The other thing that is interesting and scary, heat is a major determinant of your life expectancy and your mortality. And so if you are operating in conditions of high heat throughout your life, during a larger portion of your life, your body deteriorates faster than if you are in milder temperatures. So access to air conditioning actually is very well correlated to your lifespan and the quality of that life, in fact. And so to me, we're affecting people's lives. It's a question of life and death, but also it's a question of being able to gain, more years of life in general.
Longevity. So something you said earlier, which was around just the number of deaths, which he was doing some homework for this episode. And I think it's about 5 million people die every year related to climate related deaths, mostly heat.
Yeah.
Some of that,
Yeah.
baked in that number is also cold.
Yeah.
That's a big number. I mean, that's way more than
It's a huge
COVID.
number.
And so I
Yeah.
think might be a number that people probably just don't fathom when they think about climate change. Oh, this is kind of a normal event, or it's not really that impactful. 5 million a year around the world. It's only the sad thing, back to your point, is if heat keeps happening, it's only going to go up, right?
Exactly.
So like we need to find ways to address this.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely.